What's up, everybody? It's Kiwi, late night Kiwi here, ghostcoldmag.com. Me here, you there, talking METAL, rock, and other things. We are here for another week. It is rather late, but this is what we get. As the song says, we jump out at a different time every week. Sooner or later, I'll get it down to the regular time once again. But here we are, coming to you live from San Francisco. Ghost Cult is a global music news website. We bring you metal news and other things from around the world every day. And I'm super stoked to be here once again. So we're doing the damn thing. Got quite a show to get through. I'm going to try to keep it manageable and do our best. I've had a crazy day. If you saw the awesome thumbnail, you might have an inclination about what I was up doing at the time I normally go live on this show. So I don't know if we're going to get a lot of interaction this late on the West Coast. I don't know if we're going to get a lot of people chiming in. That's okay if we do, if we don't. You can always watch on the replay. We're streaming live. Thank you to our affiliate partner and tool for all these live streams, StreamYard, which brings you almost every social network in the same environment live. What's up to all you TikTokers? You do not have the cool view that everybody else has. Maybe someday we'll get it. But Twitter took our live streaming away because we don't want to pay for the stupid check mark. So I don't give a fuck anymore about them. But it's too bad because we had a nice little crowd going there all the time. But if you're up late, thanks for watching. It's Friday just about everywhere else in the world. It's about to be Friday night, the witching hour here at Ghost Cult. Not quite the latest live stream I've ever done ever, but you know, it's one of those. Let us bring in the deck. And again, if you've been watching my socials, I'm on Ghost Cult Instagram. Yeah, here's a slide for you folks, for whoever's watching here. This is actually pretty funny. So I live in San Francisco, in the Soma section, not too far from downtown. And I was already planning to go this weekend. There's a cool exhibition, the Art of Noise, or Art of Noise. There's a lot of things called Art of Noise, and which I think is kind of amusing. Somebody's watching on Twitch. Thanks for being there. Make sure you like and subscribe. All I wanted was a Pepsi. That's right. I got my suicidal hat on, yo. GC fan 999. Or GG fan. Oh, sorry, GG Allen. Yep, all I wanted was a Coke. Some people just like Coke. You know what else? RC Cola is a thing, and it was pretty good back in the day. And I was also a big fan of Dr. Pepper and Jolt Cola for a long time. But thanks for chiming in. Very funny. Hilarious. Actually, funny enough, I'll mention something in a little while. I had a different hat on like 30 minutes ago, and I changed it before I went on because I'm kooky. But appreciate you being here. Nobody's really going to be up this late, but our normal time. We had such a sweet spot of viewers last week. It was pretty sick. But so I was already checking out. SF has a MoMA, a Museum of Modern Art, like most big cities. And I'm a big modern art fan. It's not for everybody. A couple of friends of mine see modern art and they like melt down, like they can't hang or handle it. And so there's this exhibition, Art of Noise, with posters and old sound devices and all kinds of ephemera, as you would get in a museum exhibition. And today, one day only, they had a special event where they had a tribute, I guess you could call it, an honorary of Lars Ulrich's career with Metallica and his relationship specifically to Tama. He has only played Tama drums for the last 40 years, which is kind of bonkers if you think about it, as famous and successful as Lars is. So they had a room set up in the museum with a drum kit of Lars's and some Metallica road cases, big video screens showing Metallica and Lars playing live, and sort of a Metallica wall with stuff, and some cool pins that had like the SF MoMA logo that looked like the Metallica logo. I might have it here somewhere. I chucked it somewhere in the meantime. Yo, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Large Ulrich. Yo, he's richer than me and you, pal. I wish I was rich as Lars. You know, I've said this before here on the podcast. Lars was right about Napster. Wrong to go after the fans. That was shitty. But he ended up being right. He was 100% right about Napster in terms of the devaluing of music. Not that he needed the money, It was about the principle. I will die on this goddamn hill. But anyway, I got to sit behind Lars's drum kit and play an exact drum kit played by Lars from the M72 tour. Metallica, we'll be talking about Metallica later in the show, as usual, because Metallica, everything. They do it all, they see it all, they say it all. What can you do? South Park on it was hilarious. I agree. South Park always on point. Even when they're wrong, they're right. Just somehow. Kind of bizarre. But anyway, enough jabbering. Let's get on with the show. You know the breakdown. It is, in one more minute, Friday. So this is effectively always the Friday night show, the Friday weekend show. We'll recap the week of all the news. We preview and bring you the metal festivals. Big stuff going on here at Ghost Cult. Concert tours announced, and one's going on still. And the major news of the week. So we're going to try to blast through this. We also do the music of the week that you need to pick up. Everything that's out today for New Music Friday this weekend. Everything you need to buy and spin. As well as something fun from our mailbag. And we do have a fun thing today to share with you. I'm personally stoked to bring it to you. So we're going to do this thing. I mean, the Simpsons are pretty great. I actually, one of my neighbors is wearing like a wraparound Simpsons bucket hat. And I got in the elevator with him on my way home right before doing this show. And he was like, yo, I got this hat in LA. I was like, that's kind of fresh. I kind of like it. So yeah, that's the deal. So that's what we do here. So really quick, let's bang through this show. My Wi-Fi is not that strong tonight, so hopefully the signal holds up. But everybody, I appreciate whoever's been in chat. GG fan, you're awesome. I appreciate you. Thanks for being here. If you're new to us, please like and subscribe. We will follow you back in most cases, unless you're shitty for some reason to us, then we won't. But if you're cool, you're family. That's how we roll. And the sounds of San Francisco serenade us. Thank you so much for being here. Speaking of new albums, New Knock Loose. Oh, so good. One of the best records of the year. I have been like up to here with stuff. So honestly, I need to probably put together a albums of the year so far and albums to come. So just right off the bat, we had some sad news. This is a picture of Lucy Bleu-Knight. This is the stepdaughter of Slash, who died last week right as we went to air on the broadcast. And I saw Knock Loose, dude. I assume you're a dude. I saw Knock Loose. Sorry, I call everyone dude. It's not an offensive thing if I offended anybody. I'm sorry. I saw Knock Loose in like a little club in a hardcore show like 10 years ago, maybe less than 10 years ago. And it was like a fight like literally I didn't know if I was going to get out of there alive. It was so packed and crazy. And I'm proud of them. And they're doing it their own way, which is dope. Once again, we usually start the news with some announcements, and one of the announcements this week is the passing of Lucy Bleu-Knight. This is the stepdaughter of Slash, who died at age 25 on Slash's birthday last week, which sucked for him. He posted a really heartbreaking post about her. He adopted her. His ex was his longtime partner, and he adopted her as a daughter. And just very, very sad for a young creative person to lose their life this young. We've been no strangers to death. And hey, Dillinger's here. What up? Dillinger Compound, thank you for letting us post in Dillinger Compound. And I really appreciate the response. Everybody seemed to be on the same page about that post. I will talk about that a little later in the show. It's late tonight. I was just saying I ended up going to the San Francisco Museum of Art and sitting behind a Lars Ulrich official drum kit and playing drums badly. I was like, if you guys had a bass, I could play For Whom the Bell Tolls or Anesthesia or anything else that I know by Metallica. Why do you, but drums, it was pretty cool. In the last 9 months, I met Lars, and I've now played his drums. It's pretty cool. But yeah, sad news about Slash's stepdaughter passing away. Kind of rough. We're all over the map to start things again. This show and all our current shows. Plane Ride is here. What's up, Plane Ride? Big fan. We are trying to raise money and awareness for Sonia Ramos, Sonia Shredder on Instagram. She is battling late-stage cancer. I was kind of looking up her profiles, and other than even her GoFundMe hasn't been updated in a while, so I am worried about her well-being. Obviously, we're just trying to raise money. They were trying to, last post from the family was they were trying to send her to the Anderson Hospital in Houston, Texas, which is the foremost authority on research and experimental cancer treatments in the world. Didn't know if you knew that. And we're just still trying to raise money for her. So there's some GoFundMes in the link in the description. You can donate to Sonia. Every little cent helps. The family of Bill Crook, the former Spiritbox bassist that died last week, they have started a GoFundMe to help with funeral expenses. We've got to add that link to our description. You met Gigi Allen's brother, Merle. We covered Murder Junkies with Merle a while back. And we were chasing him for an interview. He doesn't do a lot of press, but we were big fans. I'm not the biggest Gigi fan, but I understand why people look up to him. I think he was kind of sucky, but like, you know, people, when you die, Terry B from Tura Satana and Manhole and My Ruin had a great poem about like people only love you when you're dead, and when you die, the legend grows, and when you're alive, they kind of don't remember you and they forget about you. Yeah, man, it's all good if you love the music. That's what matters. The music is all that matters. I wasn't a big fan, but I understand. I understand why. So GoFundMe for Bill Crook. And again, we are still, even though it did very well, Lou from Sick of It All is also battling cancer. Gigi fan, you might be a Sick of It All fan if you like Gigi. Like I am a Sick of It All fan and a New York hardcore fan in general. I am from New York, in case you have just new to the show and new to me talking about my life story. Ghost Cult is an army of many, but I talk a lot about myself. And yeah, Lou, they're still trying to raise a lot of money for Lou. We got some people here on YouTube. Show yourself, drop a comment, let us know who's watching. Please like and sub. We got some big YouTube news I'm pretty stoked about. And then once again, just on the lighter side of things, so I went to the museum and I bumped into my friends. I bumped into my friend Lori and my friend Matt and this dog, Django. And this is Django wearing his battle vest and hanging out with Necro Butcher of Mayhem, who is right on his way to kill Euronymous also. Our interview with Mayhem is one of our most watched things on the internet for us, and it's like hilariously funny. And he's pretty raw. He still kind of hates Norway, even though he's from Norway. I don't think he loves the country at all. And I understand why. Kurt, what is up? My best friend in the whole world. He knows where the bodies are buried, as they say in the mafia. Love you, brother. Good to see you always. Late night on the East Coast for you. I'm going late now because I was on Lars Ulrich's drum kit earlier today, and that was the time I normally go live, 5, 6 o'clock. And then I bumped into my friends, including Django, the Wonder Dog of San Francisco, and his owner and Human were there with another friend of theirs, and we ended up walking around the museum. I was going to just dip in and dip out, and I ended up doing a long walk through the whole museum. So I came home late, I ate dinner, I finished this script, and now here I am doing the show at midnight. And I have plenty of stuff to do, so, you know, here we go, as is, as does. So yeah, if you can hit the chain, doesn't cost nothing to sign up and donate to Django as we try to get Django sainted by the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. Django's birthday is Saturday. We're doing an all-day celebration for Django. He is 10 years old. I'm pretty pumped. It's my favorite pooch in the world. And then Substack. So people know that we send out a newsletter every weekend. This show is part of that newsletter. Our News at Friday picks are in there. Our big interviews, other major stories, sometimes some breaking news. And we've been using MailChimp for a long time now. I'm a marketing professional in my regular life when I'm not doing Ghost Cult. And we are probably moving away from MailChimp to Substack. This will probably be the last weekend of MailChimp stuff to go out tomorrow and Saturday. And then I think we're starting up our Substack tomorrow. So if you're interested, give us a like and a subscribe. I do scroll on other people's lives, David. Dave Hilder, what are my thoughts on society? Like the whole world right now, we're fucked. It's completely fucked. I always, I'll just be brief about this. I always believe in the good in people. I think most people inherently are cool. They want to, they keep to themselves. They live their little lives. They do the things that make them happy. Dennis Leary used to say, like, you smoke the butt, you eat the Twinkie, you come, game over. Life comes in little moments of happiness. Yeah, Mentors, dude, great band. I do go, I don't just do my lives like on TikTok. I'm a social media expert. So I do go watch other people's lives. I try not to doom scroll, but I kind of scroll with intent. And on TikTok, I know a lot of creators that get shown to me are people I'm interested in, artists, musicians, people who post about metal, people who do what I do. So I try to support. David, if you got, yeah, man, it's, well, you know, I understand what you're saying. Kristen Elisa is here. Is it Elisa or Alyssa? I once called Elisa from Arch Enemy Alyssa, and she fucking freaked out on me. I'm not gonna lie. She's great, but she definitely took it there. It's probably Kristen Alyssa. But anyway, good to see you. Yeah, I understand, Dave. You know, it's a weird society that values fakeness over real, but I don't want to judge people, and technology and these available social networks and things like OnlyFans, it's not a crime. It's like doesn't hurt anybody, and actually probably somebody that's like not watching me and beating off to an OnlyFans girl right now is probably gonna not shoot up their post office. I don't condone violence of any kind, but like, you know what I'm saying? If people don't have these releases, if people don't have a way to make money in a free market, it's really like, I understand what you're saying, like, yeah, but judge slowly. That's what I was taught to do by my dad. Judge slowly. He was a maniac. Anyway, so yeah, here's a cool picture of me. Speaking of Substack, I did an interview tonight. Yep, I am observing, pal. I did an interview today. I normally don't. I do the interviewing. I've interviewed thousands of music artists, and also in the corporate world, I've interviewed a lot of people for professional settings, finance, pharmaceutical, consumer goods, tech, and in the music world, thousands of people. But I was interviewed by Metalhead Money, which is Substack. My friend Jessie May, you might know her from the bands Turkey Vulture and Owlmaker, which we have covered here a lot at Ghost Call. 2 bands, and it's a bird theme. Dig it. And I was interviewed about how Ghost Cult makes money, or lack thereof, but we do make a little bit of money, and we do strive to break even. We have a lot of bills that it takes a lot to make this. I am Mad Handsome, thank you. I look like a young bearded Sean Astin from Lord of the Rings, and even before that. So yeah, if you're interested in how we evolved as a brand over 12 years, you can check that out. That's pretty cool. There'll be a link in the description. Again, emails will go out tomorrow from our newsletter, but honestly, we're getting rid of MailChimp for a while. I'm not saying I'm going to delete it all, but I think we're going to probably dial it back to just Substack for a minute. And it'll be the same content, the same delivery. You can sign up or not. We'll share it. If you can sign up, cool. We got a nice mailing list on MailChimp, but you know, it's all these things cost more money. Anyhow, we're on all the socials. I'm sure you know. You can check us out on all these places. If you're on one of those places right now, thank you. Appreciate you watching. A lot of people popping in on TikTok. Thanks so much for being here. All right, on to the real shit you came here for. We're on Discord, and we're on Reddit if you want to just skip all this stuff and just check out what we do. Also, it's time for the features. But first, I'm going to take a little sip of this seltzer. Trader Joe's lemon seltzer here. I'm going to rock that shit. Thanks so much, Just, for following. Appreciate you. Inside Yourself, thank you for following. Just follows. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. And we'll, at the end of this, I go through and see who watched, and I follow back people. So you'll see me. I'm much appreciated. I don't collect people. Features this week. This was really cool. It's like some debate about whether premieres still matter to publicists and record labels. We get asked to do them. You know, if I have the energy and the time, I will help. If I can't, I can't. But we did a premiere this week for Solemn Ceremony, which is an Australian doom metal group whose new album is out today, and we premiered this full stream. So you can either check it out on our site, or you can go to wherever you watch and stream music and check out their thing. Solemn Ceremony is made up of some band members for some pretty famous Aussie doom bands, right? Australia, Aussies, right? It's not offensive. And it was a really good album. I listened to it. I thought it was cool. I was like, this is really cool to get asked to do this. Also, today, Friday, we are premiering the brand new song from Old Blood, the Pomona, California psychedelic Stoner Doom band that I'm also a huge fan of. I love their last record. This record's insane. Their new song, Midnight Climax, might be out right now at midnight here on the West Coast, but we'll be premiering it at the site tomorrow. They signed a new record deal. All the details will be in the post. Really killer band. If you're a fan of Coven and Blood Ceremony and Lucifer, you need some Old Blood in your life. They are such a killer band. Lisa Walker is here. Lisa Walker, 1972. Are you a 1972 baby, Lisa? I am. Just a reminder, last week, right before we did this show last week, we did a live stream review of my experiences at Woodstock 99, 25 years from Woodstock 99 to the day of the end of the festival. And I'm sure you've seen the documentaries, but I was there in person, so I brought you a Rocky Goat is here, nice, a first-hand look at Woodstock 99 and the train wreck that it truly was, not just that the documentary is called Trainwreck Woodstock 99. And I reviewed every band I saw and talked about their set lists and what their show was like. And I'm going to do Woodstock 94 next week. Maybe late next week or early the week after. Not sure yet. But I'm working on the script now. Pretty stoked. And I saw a lot more bands at Woodstock 94 because it was just run better and we were able to hang more. We enjoyed it much more. Just a reminder, we're about to talk about all the music festivals and stuff coming up, but we are giving away passes to New England Metal and Hardcore Fest at the Worcester Palladium in late September. Pre-party is headlined by God Forbidden Rivers of Nihil. The main festival at the Palladium Outdoors is being headlined by Killswitch Engage, performing a 25th anniversary show, as well as Suicidal Tendencies, Slaughter to Prevail, Machine Head, who is suddenly doing festivals after they did none for many years. Now they are just a festival band, which is great. Converge, As They Lay Dying Nails, Overkill After the Burial, Better Lovers, got some news coming up on them, as Udo, Dillinger Compound, Suicide Silence, A Mirror Full of Hell, Incendiary, Throwdown, Zabulba, The Red Chord, Integrity. Speaking of punchy hardcore, GG, you would love this show, man. There's a lot of hardcore bands here, and many, many more. So I'm pretty proud of this. And then in addition, if the Midwest is a little more your thing, Riot Fest, granted not as hardcore a lineup as New England Metal and Hardcore Fest, but Riot Fest does feature the comeback of Slayer. We're going to be covering, I believe, all 3 Slayer reunion shows. Riot Fest, Louder Than Life, and Aftershock. I will personally be at Aftershock. In addition to, so you may not like Fall Out Boy and Beck, but in addition to Slayer, Riot Fest also has Rob Zombie, Lamb of God, Mastodon, killer bands. So don't sleep. Enter to win weekend passes. Buy a ticket to Riot Fest, like $800. A VIP ticket or a weekend pass to New England Metal Fest is like $300 or $250. I understand there's travel involved, but these are pretty cool things we got to be a part of, and I'm pretty proud of. And we've got an interview coming up with Scott Lee of New England Metal and Hardcore Fest later this month, so stay tuned. Speaking of interviews, one of our interviews that went live this week was my interview with Juan of the Dead of Evil Dead and Body Count. Evil Dead's new album, Toxic Grace, is out now. If you've been following our site and socials, Body Count dropped new music this week, and they have a new record coming in. So Juan is super busy, and we talked to him all about the career of Evil Dead, their comeback last record, and their current record. Very, very cool stuff. Their new record, Toxic Grace, once again, is out on SPV Steamhammer. I'm pretty pumped. It's pretty rad. Probably my favorite thrash record so far this year. Also, metal comedian Don Jameson. You know him from That Metal Show and That Rocks with Eddie Trunk. He is a personality. I believe he was on Crank Yankers along with his buddy Jim Florentine. He has a brand new live album out on Metal Blade called No Sleep Till McSorley's. McSorley's, a famous pub in the New York area, and Don's awesome. We've interviewed him a couple of times. He's just a cool guy and been really supportive of Ghost Cult 2, and we had a lot of fun. And he gave us some insight into Eddie. People love Eddie or they hate Eddie, but Don's pretty close with him, so it was pretty great to talk to him about that. Great guy and a very knowledgeable metal fan, by the way. Much more than you would think. We also have a podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. This show will be a podcast, the Ghost Cult Magazine podcast. We got cool new stuff coming up, some exclusive content over there, as well as everything you see on our YouTube channel. Very cool. And another podcast, because I don't have enough work to do, I am the co-host of the Glacially Musical podcast, a Ghost Cult Mag podcast network joint. Beer, metal, and swearing, sometimes sometimes hockey, all kinds of stuff, vinyl collecting nerds. And this week we had a really cool episode. We're doing a deep dive into early Metallica. So we talked to a metal DJ and lifer, Sue Ring, who now resides in the Seattle area, but back in the early 80s, she was an East Coaster in New Jersey, and she literally saw the show where Metallica got signed to Elektra, and she talked about, she knew Johnny and Marsha Zazula of Megaforce Records, and she had a lot of cool, interesting takes about early heavy metal and thrash metal and the new wave of British heavy metal. So a really great interview with her. And then she dropped off the call, and my co-host Nick and I, we reviewed the Creeping Death single and Metallica's sort of career-long love of covers and why they do covers so hard and why they love the covers so much. So that Creeping Death single, which is the only single that really came off of the commercial single that came off of Ride the Lightning, was Am I Evil and Blitzkrieg. So, nobody is better at taking a cover song and making it theirs than Metallica in metal. Pretty much. And it's a really good episode, so check it out. Give us a sub. We got a lot less followers on that show than this show, so if you could check that out here on YouTube or where you listen to podcasts, we appreciate it. And just a reminder, we are affiliate partners with the Lambgoat Media Network. That's right, lambgoat.com has their own media network, and they got some spammy action going on Twitch. Fantastic. And I am not interested, man. I'm a marketing expert, and I don't need help promoting our stuff. I really don't. Anyhow, if you want to sponsor our show, I'll gladly take your money, but I don't need help getting promotion at all. Thank you, Rebid 420 Saints, for following. That's really cool. I really appreciate everybody that's popped in to watch today. Super nice. So yeah, Lambgoat Media Network comprises a bunch of websites, including our brand new partner, The Needle Drop. Anthony Fantano, the internet's busiest music appreciator. But Lambgoat, This Day in Metal, now The Needle Drop, Metal Insider, Ghost Cult, New Metal Agenda, a few other places. We're all part of the Lambgoat Media Network. When you see ads on our website, that's from Lambgoat. Those giveaways, New England Metal and Hardcore Fest passes and Riot Fest tickets, both from partnerships with Lambgoat. Very cool, guys. Big news for Ghost Cult. We reached 1 million views on our YouTube channel. Yeah, I'm not going to add any hosts, so you don't need to try to invite yourself into host. If you're watching, I appreciate it. Ronnie is here. What's up, Ronnie? Happy Friday, Ronnie. We had 1 million views to go with our 5,000 plus subs. I would love that to be 1 million. I wish it was reversed. It wouldn't be reversed. It would be like 1 million subs and a few million views. But yeah, I'm pretty thankful of everybody that's ever watched our stuff on YouTube. We didn't even really go hard on YouTube until 2018, and we did triply hard since the plague, and then we just kept that clip going. Tell us what you want to see from us beside this show. I'm here for you. We do this. All right, that was all the warm-up, and now for the rest of the news. Let's do it. And it's time for some metal festivals. This is what we do. So what we do here, we are honored to be covering Beyond the Gates this weekend. It started on Wednesday, so it's already Friday is day 3 of a 4-day festival in Bergen, Norway. Easily the best black metal festival in the world. And, just so thankful to be selected. It's very competitive out here. Mayhem and Attain and Trelldom played. I think Trelldom played their very first live show. Today was Venom, Behemoth, and a bunch of other bands. Tomorrow's lineup includes Satyricon and Vride and Vemod and a bunch of other bands. Doheimsgard, who's great. I've seen them live. And then I think there's a Sunday also. Oh, Saturday. Sorry. Saturday, which is Aura Noir and a bunch of other bands. So just very fortunate to be covering Beyond the Gates in Norway. Also coming up this weekend is the Loud as Hell Open Air Festival. We are a media partner. We are not covering this. This is in Western Canada. But I mean, the lineup is great. Tomorrow features Green Jelly, who I just saw a few months ago, the Convalescence, and a bunch of other bands. Saturday is Ancients, Pound of Flesh, Gutter Creek, a bunch of other bands. Sunday is Beyond Creation, the great tech death band. I'm not sure if you're a huge technical death metal fan, but they are amazing. And a bunch of other bands. There's also a kickoff party that I think was today, and some special guests. So very damn cool. Looks great. We'll be promoting this some more. This is in Alberta, August 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. So starting tomorrow. Very cool. Cheers, Canada. Just a reminder, right around the corner, System of a Down and Deftones have kind of their own festival here in San Francisco in my backyard. Proud to say that their PR reached out this week to just remind me the show is happening. Yes, the whole city is aware. Opening that show, special guests, the Mars Volta, Viagra Boys, and Bows, who are amazing. I've seen Bows open several times for both Deftones and My Life with the Thrill Kill Cult, I think, or KMFDM. And they were super killer. But that's coming up. And then, of course, last week we brought you the news that Dia de los Deftones is announced for this year, featuring Deftones, Idol, Sunny Day Real Estate, Health, Paris, Texas, Gel, and others. So Deftones very busy. I believe we're going to get Deftones' new album announcement immediately, very soon. And not quite in the news, but I did see an interview this week with Stephen Carpenter of Deftones, and he was talking about, like, a lot of people shit on him. He took a stance where he never liked to fly, apparently. It always stressed him out, gave him panic attacks. Even with all the weed he smokes, it gave him panic attacks. And he was like, oh, I'm not going to play international shows right now. He's like, maybe someday I'll be able to, but right now I can't. So he stopped touring with the band when they go overseas. Deftones' current overseas shows include Sean Lopez of Crosses and Fart, one of Chino's best friends, on guitar in place of Steve. And he will be at that show in the U.S., both those U.S. shows. But he just doesn't travel anymore, and he's kind of bummed that people shit on him. I know he gets a lot of grief. If you want to be a flat earther, I got nothing for you. I'm a person of science. But oh, he's high, picking on him. You gotta treat people's mental health a little more seriously, man. He's got feelings too. He's a great musician. Deftones, one of my favorite bands ever, and a karaoke staple for this guy. We're talking about, so I mentioned the two Deftones is coming up with their big show in San Francisco with System of a Down. 91 OG. So we're talking about Deftones, right? Deftones is a big show coming up with System of a Down, co-headline festival show here in their home area of the Bay Area, originally from Sacramento. I know Chino lives in Oregon now. And then Dia Los Deftones. And then I commented that, it was sold out in seconds and a lot of money. But I was just talking about Steven decided he's not flying anymore, and he finally opened up about why. And flying gives him a lot of anxiety attacks, even with all, again, meds, whatever. He said he's tried everything, and it's just very stressful for him to fly overseas. And he just as soon as not tour anymore overseas. And even though he feels bad, he feels like the band can do it without him, and he can focus on, while they're away, he writes songs and he's working on new albums and he's making music and stuff. So I hope he gets better, and I feel bad for the European fans and fans elsewhere like Asia, but maybe back off of him a little bit. Let's not pick on the dude. Moving on, Lollapalooza is this weekend, and I believe it is being live streamed on Hulu. Blink-182 is there. There's a little bit of metal bands at Lollapalooza, including Deftones. And Deftones doing a secret show. I think they did it tonight in Chicago. I just found out about it right before I went on air. And it's already late, so there's no way to inform you about that show tonight. But they played a secret show. I wonder if they played a new song. Yeah, man. I've gone to Europe a few times, and flying over the ocean is scary. Like, don't let anyone tell you. I love flying and traveling the world. I don't love taking off and landing that well, but to go over the ocean for hours and hours. I went over to Europe in 2018. I had several flights through Europe that time. And coming back, I had a layover in Denmark. I did not see King Diamond or Flemming Rasmussen, but to ask him about the bass on Injustice for All, but I was in Denmark for a layover. And then I flew back from Copenhagen to JFK. And dudes, my people, my brother in Christ, it was a horrible flight because it was like 9 hours, 10 hours. And the last 3 hours, I was just going to like lose it. And I had a comfortable flight and I was well treated, treated well on the flight. I think I flew KLM Airlines, which is the Dutch airlines that does international flights. And then you get off the plane and it takes 2 hours to go through passport check. So it's like miserable. Another festival coming up soon is Brutal Assault. This is a festival in a fortress. This is a small poster. It's really like 150 bands in 4 days. This is next week, August 7th through the 10th in a fortress Josefov in Czech Republic. Testament and Exodus are your headliners, along with Sadist, Hellhammer, Toxic Holocaust, Forbidden, Hell Ripper, who we just covered in their headline tour, Armored Saint, one of the rare European shows, Exhumer, Hyrax, Havoc, a lot of thrash at this. So there's a lot more bands. Silosis, Take Offense, Persephone, many, many bands. This is just a small poster. I think this is not the complete lineup, but just a reminder that that's taking place. Desert Days is coming up. We talked about that last week. Jack White and the Return of Sleep. Thank you so much for following. That means a lot to me. I appreciate you. Night Beers is here. You have a cool name, Night Beers. I drink some Night Beers sometime. Not tonight, though. Night Seltzer. Radar Fest is another festival coming up, or it actually just happened. Sorry, it was this week. But I just wanted to plug it one more time. It was really nice to cover it. We got a review coming soon. Alcatraz Festival is coming up again. I believe we're going to be there covering it. I'm not 100. We haven't got 100% confirmed yet, but I think we will be there. And this is also Architects and Amanamarth headlining. Dynamo Metalfest in the Netherlands. We'll be back covering that again for the first time in a minute. We did cover a bunch of them a few years ago. So very exciting for us to be able to cover this. And this festival is packed with talent. Dimmu Borgir, Saxon, Amaranth, Igor, Skindred, Clutch, Forbidden, Soen, Whitechapel, Flotsam and Jetsam, Green Lung, Left to Die, Bay Area Interthrational, which is a super group of thrash metal people. Just super cool. Just cool that we get to we have so much coverage coming soon from these festivals and shows. I'm really excited about it. Bloodstock is coming. We are 100% confirmed for Bloodstock. Opeth, by request, setlist, Architects and Amanamarth again. Arctangent will also be at this. So we are just full up on things. And here's California Deathfest once again, coming to Oakland in October. I will be out of town, but maybe we'll still cover it. I don't know. Muddy Roots, we're going to be covering that also at the end of summer. Pretty cool. Inferno Festival just announced Behemoth and a bunch of new bands. I would like to get out to Norway for this next spring. We shall see. It's always a tough one. Fortress Fest has announced a bunch of new bands. Pretty exciting about this one also. Monolith Fest one more time. Coheed and Cambria playing a full album. Periphery Leprous. Coheed and Cambria doesn't do a lot of full album playthroughs on tour. Chris Lee is here. What up? Nightbeers is here. What up? Again, if you followed us, thank you so much. It means a lot to me. This is pretty cool. This is a hardcore festival that just got announced. This is the For the Children Fest, December 14th to 15th for later in the year. It's like a demonic Santa, a devil Santa. This is just the first announcement. Gorilla Biscuits, my favorite hardcore band of all time. 100 Demons, again, GG, if you're still here, this would be your thing. West Not West is here. Hi there. 100 Demons, Mind Force, Comeback Kid, One King Down, Never Ending Game, On Broken Wings, Big Boys, Torture, No Way Out, Peace of Mind at the Belasco Theater in LA. Very cool. I've always been a fan. And that's all the festivals. Holy hell. Now for the tour dates. You know what time it is. Later today, Metallica resumes their M72 tour. This is the last leg of the tour. As far as I know, they're not going to add any more shows. It's these 5 weeks of shows, followed by their Helping Hands charity show in LA once again at the end of the year. And I think that's it for a while. I think Metallica's going to go back and relax and vacation and write a new record maybe. I don't know how much more touring we're going to get out of these guys. This is a lot. Like, this is the least amount of touring they've ever done to support a new album. And still it felt like, you know, they spread it out pretty well. And again, I sat behind Lars Ulrich's drum kit tonight, which was pretty amazing. I'm still like, I can't believe it. Fucking wild. Fucking wild. King Diamond has announced a big headline tour. This kind of took the internet by storm this week. Maybe the second biggest news of the week. St. Lucifer's Hospital 1920 tour, Overkill, Night Demon, with special guests Merker on vocals and organ backing up King Diamond. And the question is, this tour begins in mid-October. Will we get a new King Diamond album announcement by then? I think we'll at least get a new single. I don't know if we're going to get a whole album by then, or an album announcement. I'd like to. I personally love King Diamond, and I'm here for it. All right. Also, big news this week. High on Fire announced a big headline tour. This looks insane. I wish this was the whole tour, but basically over parts of the tour, different dates. Special guest Negative Approach and Weed Eater, along with Exhumed on the West Coast. So this is just the first leg. It's not comprehensive. I do believe they're going to add more dates after this. If they didn't add your city, don't get mad. Just be patient. Just be patient. It's coming. This is my username is here. You're the most creative username I have seen today. All right. Day to Remember announced a big headline show in England in the next year. They have an extensive amount of touring coming. I believe they have a new record in the works. So very exciting stuff if you're a Day to Remember fan for the metalcore hardcore band. Fallujah is wrapping up their tour. I missed them. It was brutal. I had like 3 things to do on a night. Shan Baldwin is here. What's up, Shan? I could not make it to the Fallujah show, but this is a completely killer tour. Last few dates, if they're coming to your town. Undeath has announced a new headline tour to go along with their new music, a new album announcement. I did see when I running a music website, I get sent a lot of albums before they come out. We have a huge staff that reviews albums every week. I'm super pumped for this Undeath record. Probably one of my most anticipated albums yet to come out this year, along with Nails. Gates to Hell is a band you will be hearing a lot about. I saw them open for Machine Head and Fear Factory, and they are just blowing up. They are wrapping up their tour with Creeping Death. So many killer bands. Gates to Hell is on this tour, Enforced. Just insane. Just insane amount of bands. They're on tour right now. You got to pick your battles. You got to pick your choices wisely when you're picking what shows to go to, because all this stuff costs money. Summer Slaughter is ongoing. We know about that. I'm going to see if we can get that thing covered. The very controversial 5-Figure Death Punch tour kicks off this weekend with Marilyn Manson, the return of Manson. The question will be told if Manson will play new songs on this tour or just play the hits. He doesn't have a headline amount of time. Reports are that he's in good shape and has been taking care of himself and maybe even sober and clean. He's not been my favorite. We had that in the show last month. User 001200. Testament Creator and Possessed. Yeah, that's crazy. Slaughter Prevail is the opener for that tour. Yeah, we'll see how Manson does. Like I said, we reported the news of his new album and people freaked out on us for even reporting the news. As you know, he is still under investigation by the LA County Sheriff Office for many counts of alleged sex assault. He has never been convicted of one of these things, and some of the cases have been thrown out of court or canceled. I'm not here to say guilty or not. I think Manson told us who he was when he wrote his book in the 90s. We shall see if he's ever convicted and goes to jail, but he has had many other legal scraps. He is trying to put his music career back together. He does have a record coming out eventually on Nuclear Blast. So we'll see what he does. He's always interesting. He's never dull. Marilyn Manson. Lambgoat and Mastodon's tour continues with Kerry King and Malevolence. All reports from this tour are it is killer. And I believe we are in the running to cover this tour also, so fingers crossed. King, Buzzo, and Trevor Dunn kicks off this weekend. I will be at the San Francisco show next Tuesday. I'm pretty excited about that. Helka 4 is here. Jamie is here. I need like Testament and Creator to tour like every day of my life, man. I need Anthrax to come back and do like a headline tour where they don't do the same set list they've been doing for 15 years. But anyway, that's another story for another time. Also kicking off in just a few weeks, Rob Zombie, Alice Cooper, Filter, and Ministry for a second go round of the Freaks on Parade tour. And I believe we will be covering this also. Coal Chamber is coming back on tour soon, and I think we'll be going to this as well, and we may yet interview Des Fafara again. I think last week I was talking about our John Bush interview, and who are the artists that I have personally interviewed the most time. And that is Des Fafara, not in order, but Des Fafara, John Bush, Devin Townsend, Max Cavalera is my number one most interviewed artist, like 7-8 times in my whole career as a journalist, and at least like 6 here at Ghost Cult. And a couple of others. Oh, yeah. Oh, Bay Area Strikes Back was such a good tour. Was that Exodus, Testament, and Death Angel? And Death Angel has a new record, and Testament is recording a new record. So Death Angel's going in the studio soon. Exodus, new record coming soon. So live album is out now. They're on tour right now in Europe. I try not to repeat these things week in and week out and do the same show over and over. I try to change it up. Obviously, some things that are happening or ongoing that I'm promoting now will kick off next week, and then I'll have the poster in that show again. But I try to make it different for y'all because I do recognize that people sometimes rewatch. Cuttin is here. What's up, Cuttin? Cuttin D, Don Fly. So a few weeks ago, we had the tragic news of the sudden death, unexpectedly, of Pinche Peach of Brujeria. Apparently the tour is still going to happen. So Exodus and Havoc is sick, yo. That's great. I'm a big Havoc fan. I know David's he doesn't like the media too much, and people have a lot of shit to say about him, and he's not too kind about it, but I'm a big Havoc fan. We interviewed them a while back a couple of times too. But Brujeria is still going on tour, so please go out and support. I don't know how they're going to cover Pinche's parts, but not going to be the same without him, but they're going to go on. So they're still doing the tour a little over a month after his passing. So go support them. And I do believe my homie, the Bruja, Jessica Pimentel from Orange is the New Black, will be there. We just covered Red Cross in New Jersey. We are going to put that review out tomorrow. And they are also heading to Europe. So Red Cross, one of the best rock and punk bands ever, is on tour. And while Melvins are kind of on a little hiatus, while everybody's doing their own solo thing, Dale and Buzz and Steven. It's kind of funny. Havoc gets all their people pillaged. Pete Weber is in Fear Factory, right? Reese is so awesome as the lead guitarist of Machine Head. He's so good. I hope he doesn't leave for something else, because that also happens where Machine Head used to get pillaged. It's kind of funny. For a while, Rob Zombie and Ozzy used to steal each other's band members for like the whole early 90s, early 2000s. Kind of funny. But yeah, Reese is so killer and a nice guy, just super nice. Gate Creeper, another big tour. Man, they're so good. That last Gate Creeper record was just an absolute beast. If you like old school sound and death metal, Creeping Death. This is starting in September. A few more on the live front. Paleface Swiss. I keep hearing all about Paleface Swiss everywhere I go. Announced the North American headline tour for 2025, just to let you know. That's down the road, but it'll be here before you know it. And then last couple, Amanda Palmer. Maybe not everybody's a big fan. Oh, we talked about it right before you joined. I talked about King Diamond and Overkill. Sick. First of all, huge King Diamond, Merciful Fate fan. And, of course, I love Overkill, one of my favorite bands ever, one of the most consistent and greatest thrash bands ever. And Merker, who I'm obsessed with. Merker, the black metal adjacent folk metal songstress, is going to tour as King Diamond's touring organist and backup vocalist. Just going to blow your mind. They're playing the Fox Theater in Oakland, and I'm going to try to go. Amanda Palmer, not the most metal person ever, but Amanda Palmer and Dresden Dolls. Dresden Dolls have been doing shows. They're ready to go in the studio, make a new album. Amanda, in the meantime, does solo shows. So she has some lighthouse shows in the Northeast, as well as Dresden Dolls added the hometown show with Gorgo Bordello in Boston. They also played DC recently. So I'm super pumped. Every show of Dresden Dolls ends with the piano and drums cover of War Pigs. And Amanda's awesome. I used to see her in the Boston area, just hanging out, just around the way. Around the way. But keep the questions coming. I'm here for them. I'll answer them all. That's what I do. I don't care how long this goes. Fu Manchu has to postpone their West Coast tour, which was literally going to be in a couple of weeks in my backyard. Scott Reeder broke his elbow. They're still going to do the tour, but they just can't tour in the next week or two because it's got a cast on. Shit. Get well soon, homie. And then also, we mentioned at the top of the show, some of you that are here now might have missed it, that Slash's stepdaughter died on his birthday, Lucy Bleu-Knight. And so Slash has canceled a bunch of shows on his current Serpent Blues touring festival, just to grieve. They didn't cancel the whole tour. They're definitely going to pick it back up. Jesse Hale Music is here. Hi, Jesse Hale. What's your music like, Jesse? Tell us. I'll check you out right after this. If you follow us, I'll follow you back. And people are sending TikTok gifts. I appreciate you. That's really cool. And that is all the tours. I just want to remind everybody, we're about to talk about the first major news story of the week. And I saw a post I didn't agree with. I didn't get offended. I didn't comment. I didn't feel the need to change their mind. I still like the person. I just kept scrolling and went on with my day. More should practice this. And you're about to know why I dropped this little meme in here, because everybody is all up in their feelings about the number one music story of the last 2 weeks. Gojira, once again, played the Olympics. It shook the world. People who didn't know what Gojira was, their minds were blown. They were not trying to be satanic. They are not a satanic band. They are an environmentalist band that sings about the oceans and the jungle and the forest and animals and plant life. The entire performance was performance art. France's whole history is steeped in revolution and freedom and democracy and open thought. It wasn't Satanist. Poor Joe Duplantier has to go talk to the Rolling Stone and the New York Times about how he's not a satanic artist and they're not a satanic band. It's like, talk to Nergal if you want Satan. Talk to Attain. So many bands that are evil and cultish and love black metal and Satan, even though most of it's just clown. And speaking of the Serpent tour, Samantha Fish's too. Yes, I have. I know who Samantha Fish is. She's pretty cool. Her publicist sends me stuff, so I know who she is. But Gojira, still the talk of everybody. It was a huge moment for metal. Even if you don't like them, my partner at Ghost Cult's not a big fan. He's covered them, he's photographed them, and he was like, just don't do anything for him. He doesn't get it, doesn't like them. I don't know why, but he's got good taste in music, just doesn't like them. I don't like bands people love. I hate Journey, my least favorite band of all time. I know they're a good band. I know they have hits. I know they sell millions of records. I know people love them. I do not. I prefer Boston and Toto to Journey. That's about where I put Journey, but that's me. I also like Huey Lewis and the News more than Journey, but all right. So again, I'm sure you saw this post. So if you saw all the Gojira posts, this went around about the explanation of it's like, it wasn't the Last Supper, it wasn't satanic, it was about Marie Antoinette. Because the Olympics are from Greece, it was a Greek tableau, not the Last Supper. Not everything is directed at you, persecution complex, crazy people. But again, what are you going to do when you have religious people? If you're religious and you keep it to yourself, cool. If you're religious and you try to dump it on everyone, fuck off. Night Goat is here. Hey, Night Goat. I love you. Just going to throw that out there. I love you, Night Goat. Night Goat is all up in my comments and posts all the time on TikTok and other socials. Not as much, but used to be. Gojira needs a song like Sabbath's After Forever. Maybe. I guess. I mean, in Black Sabbath has never been able to shake the satanic thing from the first bell on Black Sabbath. And Ozzy is pretty religious. Speaking of Ozzy, this is another big story this week. So responsible music journalism, right? When somebody gives an interview and tells you something, you listen to what they say and you make a note and you save that until it becomes not just a rumor or a conversation piece, it becomes a fact. So Bill Ward last weekend, this is an older picture of him from a while back that we were sent that we had permission for, but Bill Ward gave a recent interview that says, you know, would I play with Black Sabbath? And of course, because Ozzy has said he would, and Ozzy wants to do a final show or two. I don't know that he can, but Sharon is trying to arrange one. Iommi said I could go do one more show. Sure. Geezer's like, I'm retired, but I would come out of retirement to do one more show with the Bates. And all of them have said, of course, we would love to play with Bill. And Bill said, hey, listen, I'm just going to put it out there. I would love to play with the guys one more time. I play music every day. I'm not going to say I'm doing okay for 76 years old. He's, you know, Bill has had a lot of health problems, especially 10 years ago. He had a lot of health problems 10, 12 years ago, but he seems good now. He hasn't had a major incident in a long time. And he feels like if it was for one show, he could get up and do it. Now, remember that those guys and Sharon fucked him over royally when he was supposed to do the 13 album and tour. So I would love to see them come back for one more show and get out there and try to play those songs. I don't know how good they will be. I fear for Ozzy being able to really even get out and do a show, let alone two shows, let alone, you know, I don't think he's ever going to tour again. Iommi's got new music coming out, but I don't know if he can tour. And Geezer said he was completely retired from music, but do I want a Black Sabbath reunion? 100%. Do I want them to fuck over Bill again? Never again. So if you love Bill and he's your friend, make it right with him as your friend first, and then talk about maybe doing a show. I know a lot of people bought Power Trip tickets to see Ozzy. Randy Joe is also here now. He just couldn't do it, man. Like, if you know, if it's in his backyard in Indio and he just had to come out there, like, do you want to see Ozzy sit down? If you ever saw Ozzy in his prime, like I did, like a lot of people did, he was explosive on stage, man. He was athletic and physical and into it and loves the crowd. He loves music. He wants to get out and perform. It's his favorite thing. And I would love for him to have that, but also not to take years off his life. He's not well. He's still in a lot of pain every day. You know, Iommi, every year they give him another year to live. He has leukemia, and what they did, they put these like radioactive peas inside of his body, like ball bearings through his whole body that irradiate chemo to nuke his tumors. And it works. He's all right. He had cancer, 7-8 years ago. We had a health update from Rob Halford last week where he said, hey, by the way, prostate cancer gone, still in remission. Whew, man, people are dropping like flies, young people dropping like flies, people my age, a lot of people from my high school passed away, my age people, or a little older. So I'm trying to do better. I had a phone call this week. I didn't do a Keefe health update. I'll do one next week, but I had a phone call with my nutritionist that said I'm not great, but I'm doing better. So I have some physical and some blood work coming up to take care of. Again, more Metallica everything. Like I said, I just sat at the Metallica drum set today. Metallica kicks off their tour, and so you want to stay tuned. This is still their month of giving for All Within My Hands, so they have charity stuff happening. They announced a new boot with Wolverine boots in their clothing collaborations. The Metallica marching band stuff is happening again, where they're going to announce those winners pretty soon when the football season kicks in. Yeah, man, I don't want to see listen, we covered the last tour for Lemmy before he died, and it was some sad shit. And we still have the photos on our site, like if you want to dig through it. And I love Lemmy. I got to photograph them twice. I was supposed to get an interview with him. It got canceled. I've been lucky enough to interview Phil and Mikey D. And I miss Lemmy so much. It was next to Dimebag, the hardest death for me, pretty much. Cornell and Chester were pretty bad too. So a lot of Metallica stuff coming up. If you love Metallica, the eating's good for right now. But once this is over, I don't know what's going on. Hi, Anita Blakes. Better Lovers. Here we go, Dillinger Compound. If you're somehow still watching, Better Lovers finally dropped their new song. It was like a whole week of teasing. Their new single came out, A White Horse Covered in Blood. It is a banger. This is Greg Puciato, 3 members of Every Time I Die, and Will Putney, the superstar deathcore, death metal producer, who's also in the band END. and a few other things. And their new album is coming soon, which I am, pretty stoked on. Their new record that's going to be on. They signed to Solid State Records, a pretty good record label for metalcore and stuff. And I'm pretty pumped for their record. That's going to be pretty damn terrific, if I must say so myself. Again, another one. Anthrax planning on releasing an album sometime next year. Thoughts on a possible Pantera headline? Well, here's an interesting thing. I don't know if Charlie could do double duty. He's been in good health, thank goodness. Hail Satan. Charlie, in the previous couple of years before he did the Pantera thing, he had a bunch of hand surgeries because he was getting like carpal tunnel and hand injuries from drumming for 35, 40 years. He was unbelievably lights out. I saw Pantera 3 times this year. He was lights out. His drums are tuned. They sound just like Vinny. He covered all the drums. The hardest thing, I hate to say this, almost the hardest thing in Pantera. Nobody can actually really completely do Dimebag. I think some people could with some help. But Vinny is actually, when Philip did the solo, illegal shows that did a tribute to Pantera, that was what the missing. It just didn't sound like Pantera because it just didn't have the Vinny Paul drum sound. You can kind of cover Dime's bases even if you can't play the stuff exactly. And listen, no shitting on Zach. Zach's incredible and he did a great job. He's just doing it his way. I don't know about double duty. I wouldn't be surprised. So Pantera has nothing on the books except some European shows. I highly doubt they're going to just do a handful of European shows and then walk away. And when we walk away, there'll be no going home. For a little bit of Down for you guys. I'm going to sing some Down at 12:55 a.m. I shouldn't be singing anything. I need to go to bed. But I love Anthrax. You don't get to see it anymore, but I have Anthrax as my back patch on my vest, my battle vest. I'm from the Bronx, New York, and I love Anthrax. One of my favorite bands ever. Would love to see it. I need an Anthrax headline tour, though. More than anything, I need an Anthrax headline tour, but it would be pretty great if Pantera was doing amphitheaters and arenas with Anthrax opening. That would be great for them. Or I'm really, if Metallica comes back on tour again, I would love to see them take Anthrax. They really need to take a veteran. I could see them taking Kerry King and doing a bunch of Slayer stuff, and then Metallica. That'd be kind of fun. James Hetfield has said that he loves John Bush's group, Category 7, that I interviewed and ran last week. So we'll see. It'd be cool to see Anthrax get a cool opportunity. This is Chelsea Wolfe. Chelsea Wolfe has announced a new remix EP, and she put out a couple of new singles recently, including one remix by Crosses, by Chino and Sean of Crosses. And I'm pretty stoked for this. She Reaches Out to She came out earlier in the year, and now she has a remix EP, and she announced some tour dates. Pretty baller and badass. Power Trip gave some interviews recently. We covered them at the No Values Fest. This photo is by Ghost Cult co-owner Omar Cordy. And the guys in Power Trip were asked specifically, are you just going to do these shows, or are you going to finally put out some new music? So they started putting some new songs together, but they're taking it very slow. I saw the Power Trip Union, one of their first 3 shows, like a second legitimate show, first festival show ever, since the death of Riley Gale, who I deeply cared about and loved and knew in person and hung out with him and interviewed him for Ghost Cult. And I backed this reunion. They did it really well. Everything was done with care. And I'd like to see them put out some new music like an EP or something, but they're just going to take their time. So nothing before 2025 at least. When it's right, when the time is right. Here's Oceans of Slumber. They have a brand new album coming soon. A progressive gothic doom metal group from Houston, Texas. They just put out a cover of Chris Isaac's Wicked Game. It seems like everybody covers that song. And Gregorio is here. What's up, Greg? And Oceans of Slumber, phenomenally talented band. Do not sleep on them. I'm very excited about this new album. Pretty cool. In about 4 weeks, it is going to be the 5th anniversary of Tool's album, Fear Inoculum. I just got this in my email earlier. So Alex Gray and his wife, Allison Gray, run the Chapel of Sacred Mirrors, which is a museum in Westchester, New York. It used to be a museum in Manhattan. Alex, as you know, is the infamous creator of a lot of the Tool artwork and visuals and live things and shirts and merch, all the freaky artwork on the Tool album since basically 2006 is all from Alex Gray. Maybe 2001 even, right? Lateralis. So He says a lot of stuff is coming soon with Tool and Alex, so stay tuned. And there's merch and there's kind of things happening. So you can either follow Tool or you can follow COSM, C-O-S-M, Chapel of Sacred Mirrors online and watch the store. Weezer is here, but it's probably not that Weezer. Donna Walker 809 is here. Hi, Donna. SGV Papa Bear 73 is here. We're almost done, folks. I got to get on with my morning. Almost done with the show. Just a reminder, this weekend here in San Francisco, again at SF MoMA, as part of the Art of Noise exhibit that I was at today, that I got to play Lars's drums, Sylvester. We'll have a world premiere of the Sylvester live album, live at the Opera House. Sylvester is the groundbreaking, iconic Black trans artist, the first openly trans artist ever in music that we know of, and was an iconic dance music figure that needs respect, whether you not metal or whatever, but just important to value and show up for. Burton C. Bell, formerly of Fear Factory and also of Ascension of the Watchers and a few other things, is going to drop his first solo single under his own name in just about a week. I think a week and a half. A week from today, maybe. And it's under his name. He's got like a cool label that's like BCB with like really cool font. And I'm hoping it's like industrial metal or something post-punk, maybe. Such a good voice and such a great artist. Jack Gibson. Oh, yeah. I met Jack and hung out with him. He's definitely a brass tacks fucking dude. He lives in Nashville, by the way, and he does a lot of studio stuff. So the rest of Exodus is a West Coast band. And Jack lives in Nashville and commutes for them. Obviously, they're over in Europe right now. So, you know, a few years ago, Jamie Justice said the same thing. He's like, I don't sell records. I go on tour so I can sell merch, and I sell shirts. That's why he puts so much effort into his shirt game and his merch game. And he's not wrong. Like, they don't really make money touring, and they don't make money from streaming, just physical sales. So if you go on sale on tour, and then of course the venues take a cut. Now I know that Live Nation has stopped taking merch cuts, but other places do still. So he's not wrong. He was right. I don't like it. I want artists and bands to make more money. If they don't make money, they can't keep doing what we love. I know times are tough for everybody, and you got to choose. Look at all these festivals and tours we just ran down. It's like crazy, but you got to support the artists you care the most about with your pocket, with your wallet, and your purse, and your man purse, and your money clip. This is just fun. The daughter of Steve Harris and the son of Ron Wood of the Rolling Stones got married. So you get the Rolling Stones child, scion, marrying the second daughter of the infamous leader of Iron Maiden, bassist Steve Harris, and one of the headlines. I got to give it up. The British press is usually, if you think the American media sucks, the British media is the worst. Honestly, the worst. And I worked in media studies, and I'm an expert on journalism and marketing. Like, they're horrible. But the Daily Mail newspaper, I wouldn't wet my ass with it or line a birdcage with it. They were like, bring your daughter to the altar. And I was like, 10 of 10, no fucking notes. That was perfect. Yeah, man. I saw a punk rock artist. I think he might have pulled the post down, so I don't know. I don't want to out him. But a punk rock artist was like, listen, if you buy shirts off of like Redbubble and Teespring, you're a dick and you don't love bands or music. And I was like, you know, shirts cost a lot. There's a markup on merch so they can make the money back to make more. Like, nobody's getting rich here except a handful of bands at the top. I really appreciate this conversation here, user 0012 string of numbers I can't repeat. But like, I really appreciate you. I just want to jump in and say that. Thank you for being here and making this lively and fun. We're almost done. Try to get it done in a manageable less than an hour and a half. Tribulation dropped a new single, announced a new album coming out on Century Media. I know people liked Tribulation earlier when they were kind of like gothic, black metal, and death metal. And then they kind of became like a goth rock prog band. They did lose Jonathan Whalton. Megaton Leviathan is here. Big fan. Such a big fan. Love y'all. So Tribulation, I'm still interested in what they're doing. I know there was maybe some talk that they weren't as good anymore. I love this new single, and I'm very excited. This is another one of those, a lot of records are getting announced now for September, October, November, and this is going to be the time when a lot of stuff is dropping. So pay attention if your favorite bands, just peek in on their socials sometime. Like I said, Old Blood, we're dropping a new single in the morning, new video, a new single, and their new record deal, and like new albums. I'm very pumped. Almost done here. This is Eve Minor. I just want to give a shout out to Eve Minor as an artist I care a lot about. Has been for years like in the industrial metal scene, avant-garde scene, punk scene, and has a jazz album coming out. Went back to school and learned jazz studies and really challenged themselves to become a really top-tier jazz artist. Fun fact you may not know about me, not only am I an expert at rock and metal, but I'm actually a bona fide expert in jazz. My parents were huge jazz nerds, but that's not all. I studied jazz in college twice, not just 2 classes. Like, I immersed myself in jazz history, and I just jammed out to her new song, and it's gorgeous. Beautiful job. You wouldn't expect her. I didn't expect this hot. I was like, oh, it'll be cool. It was better than just cool. It was excellent. And in addition to that, she has a Bandcamp sale on right now to pre-order the album. She also makes witchy arts and crafts, candles, and soaps. And we'll link all that in the description where you can support Eve Minor. Really cool person. I'm glad to be acquainted with. And maybe we'll get a new interview with Eve. We've kind of circled each other for a long time trying to get some interviews going, but just hasn't worked out time-wise. But we're both on the West Coast now, so maybe we will. Finger 11, Canadian rock band, kind of the Canadian Pearl Jam or Candlebox, long-running band, always consistent, great songs. A brand new single out, Adrenaline. They signed to Better Noise Music, and pretty pumped for them to drop more new music. I hope the new album is coming soon. It's a cool band. I interviewed them once before. I would do it again. This is a bummer. Steve Riley's LA Guns. So there was 2 versions of LA Guns. Steve Riley was the former drummer of LA Guns. He quit. They were kind of abandoned. The mainstay people of LA Guns had kind of abandoned the brand, and Steve picked it up, hired new people, and revived the band. And they made a last album. And Steve died earlier this year, so they're still putting out the new LA Guns record. They just put out a new single, an unplugged version of Ballad of Jane. Ballad of Jane. Every glam rock band, hair metal band had a ballad. 18 in Life for Skid Row, and Home Sweet Home Crew, and Poison, Every Rose Has Its Thorn. And so new single, 7-inch single, exclusive, limited edition coming out, and a whole new album coming out, the Farewell final album by Riley's LA Guns on Golden Robot Records, a great record label I'm a huge fan of. They got Gilby Clarke and a bunch of other great artists. Just shout out to one of our own staffers. This is Amber Buchanan, who has a podcast called the Feminist Metalhead, but also she not only talks about feminism and metal, but also this current election, which is a dumpster fire. So at some point, she and I will get together maybe late in the year and do an interview and talk about all these things I'm pretty interested in, but I just wanted to support her. She has been an awesome concert photographer for us. Photographed a bunch of killer shows, including Machine Head and Fear Factory earlier in the year. And I wanted to uplift her a little bit. And then the Funeral Portrait has announced a brand new album called Greetings from Suffocate City. That's going to be pretty cool. I think they dropped a new single. And that is all the news. Wow. That's a lot of stuff. Let's really quickly go through the new music out this week, the New Music Friday. I'm a fan. I have a review in the works also to come out tomorrow for this week. It's just tough to do everything. Can't do all the things. It's just impossible. But records that came out this week, we'll give you the genre and the band and the label. Fourth Dominion for some deathwave post-punk. Diana's Day, self-released. Adon for some black and death metal, self-titled album on Europa Records. Black Smoke Trigger Horizons for some modern rock. I'll be on that review. Look for that. Carnophage for some technical, brutal death metal. Matter of Dark Nature on the awesome Transcending Obscurity Records label. Everything from them is awesome. Doldry for some death punk on Only Death is Eternal. Manic Abraxas, we ran that interview recently. Skin Formation, great name. Sort of an avant-garde punk metal band. And Mr. Misery on AFM Records, also self-titled, kind of a Swedish glammy heavy metal. Let's see if there's just anything else we missed that's worth talking about. It's coming out tomorrow. Let's see, we got some Acid Mass, Worship, Morbid and Miserable Records. Anne Berlin with their new singer, Maddie Mullins. Vega on Equal Vision Records. Barbarian Hermit, Mean Sugar on APF Records. Blind Guardian new album. Elder Moon on Slip Trick Records. Imodium Party Animal, great name. Party Time EP. Larry Wallace, the original lead guitarist of Motorhead, has an anthology of his solo stuff coming out. Police Car on Great Cleopatra Records, big fan. Lord of Lost new album. Poison Ruin new album on Relapse, that's a banger. Listen to some of that. Shadow Knell, self-titled on Relapse Records, another killer record. We talked about Solemn Ceremony earlier. And True Black Dawn of Thick Circling Shadows on WTC Records. That's also full of bangers. I'm pretty pumped for that one too. So that's all the new music coming out this week you need to spin and buy. Lacuna Coil and Ginger, new singles, both solid. I was out all day today, so I didn't get to them. We'll get to them tonight, but we'll talk about them next week. I am pumped for Ginger's new album. I'm waiting for, I think Ginger's got some touring hooked up that they haven't fully announced yet. And Lacuna Coil too. You know, they had some changes in the band. So it's time for the mailbag. I think there's a meme here. Yep. Stoner Doom fans be like, I like grunge. And then they heard Caius and they gone down the rabbit hole for some grunge. So it's the final segment of the show we do every week. If you're still watching, thank you. You're a real one. I appreciate you. It is 1:10 a.m. on the West Coast, so it's late. Time for a look in our mailbag. And this week I got a really cool one. One of my favorite bands, I talked earlier about Anthrax. One of my favorite bands ever is Prong. This is, speaking of Amber Buchanan, this is a picture she shot of Prong and Voivod at the show earlier this year. And this is, Prong, Tommy Victor, also one of my most interviewed artists. Yep, super pumped. Ginger's on the farewell tour. Yep, love Prong. And they put out a slamming album last fall called State of Emergency. Probably a lot of people picked up the cover of Rush's Working Man, which is easily one of their best Rush songs, to be honest with you. And I happen to have the vinyl here, so I was going to unbox it for you a little bit here. It's in the outer vinyl. As you know, I have the vinyl podcast, the Glacially Musical podcast, where we talk about vinyl all the time and how to care for your vinyl and how to buy vinyl. So this is the single LP, but a gatefold. This is actually really hard to find now, this album. So State of Emergency is some artwork. Tommy usually paints these covers, but he hired someone to do this cover. Kill it, the whole album, plus Working Man. But still pretty cool, great artwork. It also comes with an inner sleeve with lyrics. Tommy's never been shy about giving you the value here for the lyrics and stuff. And it's kind of it's just a plain, I didn't get the color vinyl, sadly, so it's just the 180 gram side A and side B. As you can see here, being TikTokers, I'll hold it there. And already in the inner sleeve Mylar, and your Mylar sleeves prevent your vinyls from getting staticky, which also damages your needle and your stylus. More fun facts about how to collect and play vinyl, especially metal vinyl, on the Glacially Musical podcast, which you can subscribe to at the links in our description. But I'm a huge Prong fan. This completes my collection of Prong records. I have pretty much everything they've ever put out on vinyl. I love the band so much. I love Tommy. He also plays in Danzig. He was in Ministry for a long time. I think he would never do that again, but he definitely shows up for not Misfits, but Danzig solo usually. So that's pretty cool. And I'm lucky to have this because it's out of print. And I wonder if Prong will remain on that label. I went to see them live and they didn't have any vinyls, and their merch guy was like, there are none. They sold out of them all and they can't get a repress for whatever reason, either repressing times or the label or some shit. So I feel very fortunate to get this. This record I got it when it first came out. I missed this colored vinyl, so I got the black variant, but like hundreds of dollars on Discogs now, which I mean, good for the band doesn't get that money, but like I like that people are into prong enough to spend a lot of money for their records. But this is, when your band puts out a record, go get it. When the band puts out a shirt you want, go get it. When the band comes to your city, go see it. Help keep this music alive. That is your job as a fan. You can't watch a show on YouTube and act like you've been there. You gotta go and support them in person. And that's the album cover, and that is our show, yo. We are here. We are here for it. So this is, another week in the books here. And if you made it this far, especially all y'all on TikTok, I really gratefully appreciate you. When this is over, I'm going to go through my list and thank everybody. And 226 people watch this live stream, and it's not lost on me, right? Maybe even 230 combined everywhere watch this. A little less than it used to be when we had Twitter, because then it was like another 100 people, but I'll take it, yo. I'm grateful. Thanks. You can spend your time anywhere you spent it watching us and me. I ain't the prettiest, but I'm informative, and I think I'm pretty gracious and humble, if I must say so myself. I'm pretty humble and handsome. But anyway, that's our show, and this is the Glacially Musical. Well, it's not Glacially Musical. You can check me out next on the Glacially Musical podcast. That new one just went live tonight over on YouTube, and today earlier on Spotify. But here at Ghost Cult, we say every week at this juncture of the show, it's a tough time in the world, so please take care of yourselves. Take care of each other, because if you don't take care of each other, what are we doing here? And stay as metal as humanly possible. And as always, on the way out, I'm going to dance a jig. See you next week. Have a safe weekend. Rock the fuck out.